I don't care who you are. Life is going to knock you down. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope, and you got to do me a favor. Like, you can't give up. You can't give in. Pain is temporary. Pain is your friend. Pain is going to take you to the next level. When you going through pain, I know what you feeling. I know exactly, because I've been there. I've done that. But you got to work through it. And the reason why most of you are not successful is because every single time stuff not going your way, you give up, you quit, you let go, and people feel weakness. They feel it. You can feel when somebody's not committed, when they're not all in, when they're not dedicated. And there's another level you get to when you go all in. Winners win and losers lose.
There are going to be times that you're going to be wondering, why should I keep showing up and working my business? Why should I keep at it? Why should I keep showing up to the conventions? Why should I keep picking up the phones and making the phone calls? Why should I keep fighting for my goals and fighting for my dreams? And what I want to remind you is that you got to show up for your life regardless of the circumstances. You got to show up in spite of the naysayers. You got to show up in spite of the conversation going on in your mind. You got to show up for your life, because if you don't, nobody else will.
If you want unreasonable results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable, you don't judge according to appearances. Part of being unreasonable, you can see it because you believe it. You must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. You've got to decide, I deserve this, and I'm going to have it. You've got to say yes to your life. You've got to say yes. Yes to my dreams. Yes to me. Yes, I can make it. Yes, I can. Doesn't matter how many failures I've made. Doesn't matter how many mistakes I've endured. Doesn't matter about my defeats. Doesn't matter about what I've done. Yes, yes. I don't care about the fact I'm in a hole now. Doesn't matter about where I am. The last chapter to my life has not been written yet. If you judge me now, you'll judge me prematurely. I'm still in the process of transforming my life. I'm still in the process of becoming. Yes.
The brilliance of Thomas Edison was not in his mind. It was something much more ordinary and often much less respected. I've got no imagination, he once said. I never dream. I've created nothing. If you're someone who doesn't like Edison, you might think that this is Edison admitting to stealing his inventions from other, more brilliant inventors, like Nikola Tesla. Not quite, but he did readily concede that most of the credit belonged to something other than his brain. The genius hangs around his laboratory day and night, Edison said. If anything happens, he's there to catch it. If he wasn't, it might happen just the same. Only it would never be his. What he's talking about is showing up. The incredible, underrated power of clocking in every day, putting your ass in the seat, and the luck this seems to inevitably produce. Edison lived in his laboratory and never missed a day. Like Gehrig, even when he was sick, when he was tired, or when visited by tragedy or disaster. The modern conveniences we can trace to his lab then owe far more to his body than his brain, to the compounding power of consistency rather than sheer brilliance. It wasn't about inspiration. It was about getting to work, show up and try. Get on the treadmill, pick up the violin, script out some sequence, reach out to some clients, read some reports, lift a couple weights, jog 1 mile, cross one thing off the to-do list, chase down a lead. It doesn't matter what it is. All aspects of our life benefit from this circumscribed kind of discipline. Just as long as you do something every day, that is the important thing. Show up. When you're tired, when you don't have to, even if you have an excuse, even if you're busy, even if you won't get recognized for it, even if it's been kicking your ass lately, once something is done, you can build on it. Once you get started, momentum can grow. When you show up, you can get lucky. Is this still hard? Yes. But the good news is that because it's hard, most people don't do it. They don't show up. They can't even do one tiny thing a day. So So yes, you're alone out there on the track in the rain. You're the only one responding on Christmas. But having the lead is, by definition, a little lonely. This is also why it's quiet in the morning. You have the opportunities all to yourself. Don't worry about setting any records. Just report for duty. No excuses. And here's the irony. This is also a way to break records. Consistency is a superpower. Day to day, willpower is incredibly rare. Lowell Gettrig was a solid position player and a good hitter. But his success really was rooted in the fact that he didn't miss many days of work. It's quite likely that had he continued at his normal pace and not been stricken with R's, that he would have put up career numbers that surpassed Babe Ruth. Gettrig wasn't just able to show up despite injuries and fatigue. He also had to push through ennui, doubt, and just plain not feeling it. He had slumps like we all do, but he also understood what they meant. As a minor leaguer, he had struggled at the plate and thought about quitting. The Yankees' owner sent down a scout to walk Gehrig through the very basic math of a batting average. A good hitter hits 300, and hitting 350 is terrific. Hitting 400 is almost unheard of. What does that translate to? Missing on 6 tries out of 10. A hitter can also go days, weeks without touching the ball. That's what the scout told him. The most important thing a young ball player can learn is that he can't be good every day. You don't have to always be amazing. You do always have to show up. What matters is sticking around for the next at-bat. The ability to do that, coupled with the ability to endure what John Steinbeck called dogly days while writing East of Eden. Those days when everything seems out of whack, when you're just not feeling it, when the distractions won't stop, is the first step to greatness, literally. You cannot be great without the self-discipline to do that. One thing a day adds up. Each day adds up. But the numbers are only interesting if they accumulate in large quantities.
You guys that are just getting started, you're not going to start right here. You're going to start down there, probably in another city, another town. I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, no money, raised by a single mother. I was in debt at 25 years old. First thing that I had to do in my life was not learn a new skill. First thing I had to do to get my life moving in the right direction was self-development. It is vital. It was vital for me that I improved myself and I could start depending upon me. I had to show up every day with some rituals, some disciplines, and start getting myself to trust me, not trust others, but trust myself to do the right thing every day. One of the things that I started doing was beating the sun up every morning. I'm going to beat that sun up every morning so that I have the discipline and the control over my life. So I knew, hey, before that thing pops, I'm going to pop. I'm going to get out of bed, depend on myself, get up at the same time every day. And for me, that time, regardless of where I was beat that sun up. No matter where I am, I'm going to beat that thing up. So it gives me a sense of control over my own life. Second thing, I had to start cleaning up my life and my friends and my environment. When I was younger, between 15 and 25, I was doing crazy stuff in my life. Wasting my weekends. I have the saying, weekends are for the weak. I was drinking, fooling around with a bunch of bad things, bad people. At 25 years old, I cleaned it all up. Quit going to those places. Quit hanging out with people that did not have ethics and discipline in their life. I wanted to build something in my life. I wanted to become someone. And to do that, to become someone in the eyes of the world, just beating that sun up every morning gives me the sense of accomplishment, that I did what I said I was going to do, that I woke up when I said I would wake up, and I start building respect for myself, start believing in myself so that I can go out into the world. And maybe today when I go into this meeting that I'm dressed for, they'll believe in me as much as I believe in me, and that'll show up in a contract, a deal, maybe even some money.
Today, you will see this everywhere when people say, I am only human. They are talking about the limitations of being human. They are not talking about the possibilities of being human, isn't it? If we are the most intelligent species on the planet, if we are the most capable species on the planet, should we be talking about our possibilities or should we be talking about our limitations?
You are the sum total of all of the choices that you've made up until now. And anything about yourself or your life that you don't like, or isn't working, or is mobilizing you, is to be looked at in terms of, can I grow? Rather than, why did I do it, or isn't this wrong? I don't like what I've done. I don't like the fact that I can't do this well, or I can't do that well. So I will list these things in my own repertoire, and then I will be constantly trying to repair those deficiencies, always assuming that I'm deficient, that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to fix it. And when you do that, you spend your whole life doing it.
But in order to be the winner you were born to be, you must plan to win, you've got to prepare to win, and you must expect to win. And if you don't plan to win, and if you don't prepare to win, then you have no legitimate reason for expecting to win.
The way that we think about ourselves determines the policies that we embrace, the laws that we agree to live and abide under. Those are all based upon our story. So all of a sudden you see the battle for our story is front and center. I mean, what could be more important than that right now? So when we talk about that battle, there's a battle for who we are and the way that we think about ourselves.
You are creators who have come into this environment for the details that it evokes from you. But you are God force who insists upon alignment with the energy of your source. And it is our knowing that as you move forward from this day, never again will you feel negative emotion without blessing the importance of it. Because in the negative emotion is the indication that you are setting forth for this universe expansion. And instead of feeling a continuing of negative emotion, you're going to flip. You're going to take the bounce. You're going to feel the solution that your problem has pointed.
So then as you begin to think about a new possibility, and your brain begins to fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, and you begin to plan your behaviors, and you begin to review in your mind, mentally rehearse who you're going to be in your life, the mere action of mental rehearsal begins to install the neurological circuits in your brain. Now your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's in fact a map to the future. And if you were then to begin to emotionally embrace your future before it's made manifest, in other words, you're not waiting for your healing to feel wholeness. You're not waiting for your new relationship to feel love. You're not waiting for the mystical moment to feel awe. You're not waiting for your success to feel empowered. That's the old model of reality, of cause and effect.
Many of you, as I have been, as I am, are where you are in your life based upon what you believe. And it's not just what you think you believe on the surface, it's also your shadow beliefs that are holding you back from moving into the life that you believe you deserve. What I know is if you're not looking at the shadows, if you're not looking at what is subconsciously running through the tape in your mind, telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough, which is a tape that's playing for a lot of people. If you're not conscious of that, then you end up acting out of that belief system and not out of what you know to be the truest or want to be the truest yourself.
How do you alter your mindset? The only path is through new awareness. You can receive advice all day long. Many people do. They love being told what to do. They're hooked on new books, new ideas, new lists. They learn and learn and learn in all directions except the one that matters most. Learning about themselves. There is no getting around this. It's hard to sustain new happiness without new awareness. You can go for the run, you can have the hard conversation, you can eat better food, you can wake up early, read at night, you can do it all. But does it make you happier? Deep down, long term, that's the metric. If it does, if you're happier, it's because you realize something new about yourself. The change was you. You recognized why your new habits shifted your outlook. It was about challenging your old mindset. We started with this idea that now was the time. It was the time to do more, to do better, to create the change and go for it, do it. If now is the time for change, make the change, but recognize what you are truly seeking. That your body may transform, your habits may improve, you may learn new ideas. But where did the change start? What was behind it all? It's always your mindset.
To control where awareness goes, we're controlling where energy is flowing. And if we're controlling where energy is flowing, we're controlling what's manifesting in our life. And this is a great secret to learn. This is something that I've learned in the monastery. My guru shared with me that's really changed my life. Because I've realized that all I need to do is control where my awareness goes. And if I can control where my awareness goes, I can control where my energy is flowing. And if I can control where my energy is flowing, I can control what is manifesting in my life. And therefore I can even choose to create positive things in my life or negative things in my life.
If you want to enjoy self-confidence on the outside, you must practice complete integrity on the inside. The foundation of self-confidence is for you to live your life consistent with your innermost values and principles, while thinking and acting in harmony with your highest aspirations. Men and women with the most solid self-confidence are those who are absolutely clear about what it is they believe to be right and good and worthwhile, and who live their lives consistent with these values. Everything they do or say is an expression of their innermost convictions. Your whole world can fall down around you, but as long as you know that you are doing the right thing, you will have a deep inner sense of calm that will manifest itself in an attitude of confidence and self. In an attitude of confidence and self-assurance in any situation. You will have many ups and downs in life. But what is most important is that you remain true to yourself. Your true values are only expressed in your actions, in what you do. You can tell what you truly believe by observing what you do in any situation in which you have to make a choice, especially when you are under stress and pulled in two directions at once, with opposing demands or responsibilities. This is when your true values are revealed. The action that you take in any given situation will tell you which of your values is uppermost or whether you have any values at all. It is not what you say, hope, wish, or intend, but only what you do that counts. Your choices of the actions you take tell you unerringly who you really are. You can develop within yourself a superb set of values by acting as though you already had those values. You can develop integrity and courage and compassion and confidence by behaving as though you already had these qualities. The more you act the part, especially when you demonstrate these qualities under stress or when you feel like doing or saying something else, the more rapidly these qualities become a permanent part of your mental makeup. The more you practice good values, the more rapidly you become a truly superior person. The keys to developing the unshakable self-confidence that will make everything else possible for you are self-control, self-mastery, and self-discipline. Self-confidence can come directly by behaving in a self-confident manner, but more often it comes indirectly by doing and saying the things and practicing the behaviors that lead to self-confidence. The most important self-development behavior is living consistently with your highest values at every opportunity. Appreciate how special you are. There will never be anyone exactly like you. You are given special gifts and talents to share with the world. And even though everybody has special gifts and talents, nobody will use theirs quite the same way you do. You have a way of being in the world and a perspective that's unique to you. You are the only one who thinks your thoughts the way you think them. You have created your own unique reality and are living your life according to your own unique path. You are the only you that will ever be. You're kind of a big deal.
We are most alive, we have the most energy, we are most intimate with our best selves when we're progressing towards our mighty mission. I think what's happened on the planet right now is there's been a great seduction and a great brainwashing. When we are kids, we want to be astronauts. We want to do all our dreams. And we're full of curiosity, and we're loving. And we're passionate, and we're strong. We're not afraid to be ourselves. But as we leave the perfection of childhood, the hypnosis and the brainwashing begin. Be reasonable. So that's our nature, but our parents give us limitation based on their limited psychology. And don't sing too loudly, don't dream too big, don't be too passionate. As we've left who we truly are, we've contracted. And now it's all about staying safe in the world versus going out there and letting our brilliant, our primal genius shine. And a lot of people just have stuffed that pain of disappointment and their doubt really deep inside, and they just are addicted to distraction and escapes because they don't want to deal with their potential that they've denied.
What's the most important key to success? I think it's hunger. It's not getting satisfied. A hunger that doesn't go, a hunger to learn, a hunger to grow, a hunger to serve, a hunger to give, a hunger to create breakthroughs. Most people are hungry until they make a certain amount of money and then they get comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not about the money. It's not about the business. It's about your growth. Because every one of us either grows or dies. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? I say one word, progress. Progress equals happiness, because achieving a goal feels good for how long? A week, a month, 3 months, and then there needs to be something else. And the reason for something else is because you gotta grow.
I want to find more. All I can. And in that sack of you have to dive in that to find more. Because if you're not willing to go in there and face yourself, you're not gonna find anything. You're gonna live right here on surface, man, right here on surface. So if there is an ending to this world and there is somewhere to go and there's a judgment, you're gonna get there and you might see a chart. And that chart might tell you who you should have been. And now you get the rest of your life to think about that. Now I could live a much better life if I just would have just suffered a little bit more.
Success is not gonna show up at your front door and knock on it and say, here I am. It's not coming to look for you. In fact, success is not thinking about you. Success is already doing its job. You got to be willing to do your job. Each and every day that you are breathing in this world, each and every day that you are doing something in this world, you should be focusing on getting better, not worse. You should be understanding that, hey, I can't be this same person on a day in, day out type of way. I got to keep focusing and going further and going harder and going stronger and pushing myself till there's nothing else left to push forward.
So now's the time for you to hit the gym of your life and start exercising your self-discipline muscle. No more talk, no more excuses. From this moment forward, it's all about massive execution. Will there be days that you don't feel like it? Yes. Will there be days that you want to stop? Yes. Will there be days that you want to give up? Yes. Will there be days that you want to quit? Yes. Listen to me. Quitting is never an option.
We've all bought into a lie. We've bought into a lie that confidence is belief in self. And so when you're in a situation which is normal, where you don't believe in yourself, you're like, oh my God, I have no confidence. The truth is, and I want you to walk out of here with a new definition of confidence. Confidence is the willingness to try. Because when you try and you take action, what happens, and what's happened for France, is that when she sees herself taking action, what happens is she sees herself being the kind of person that takes action. So she has evidence that she can rely on herself. And that action is what builds confidence. It doesn't start with belief. The real way for most of us is not to wait to believe, but to push ourselves to act. And through the action, you will build the belief.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance, because it's the uphill climb that it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value, and I mean this technically. So almost all the positive emotion we feel, especially the emotion that fills us with enthusiasm, and that's to be filled with the Spirit of God, by the way, because that's what enthusiasm means. That's experienced in relationship to a goal. And so in some sense, and this is part of the religious enterprise, you want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant. And that's why the highest levels of virtue and goal are in some sense transcendent. You want them to be above everything you're doing so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep.
I didn't study, I didn't study a book. I literally put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in the fire repeatedly and repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And then you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I am. Yeah. I became that. I said, okay, we can't quit. We got to figure out why you are this. Why are you this, man? What is wrong with you? What's going on here? So I kept on putting the sword back in the daggone fire, and I just beat it harder. And I beat it harder. Before I knew it, I started realizing, all right, man, the brain is starting to get hard. The brain is starting to get hard. I'm no longer a theorist. I'm now a practitioner. I put it in hell. I dissected it while it's in hell, because you can't dissect anything in a normal environment. You can't dissect anything in 72-degree weather. You must put it in the freezer and freeze the fuck out of it. And then you dissect it. Dissect it when it's miserable. Dissect the brain when all it's thinking about is, I need to get out of here, man. I want to get out of the freezer. Open the door. And you said, nah, 5 more seconds, man. 5 more seconds in the freezer. And that's when you start to pick that brain apart. And that's what all this stuff did to me. I kept on putting myself back into the freezer or the fire and beating the out of myself, mentally and physically. Before I knew it, this is what happened.
Ralph Waldo Emerson believed that anyone who had put their heart and soul into their work and had done their very best could hold their head up high. Merely talking about it or only putting in a modicum of effort wasn't good enough in his mind. It was all or nothing. He believed that doing your best was an admirable quality, and that although you might not always be successful, knowing that you had done all you could was often all that mattered. At least you could look yourself in the eye. This ethos is central to many youth movements, such as the Scouts and Guides, and is a great philosophy for life in general. Indeed, doing your absolute best in everything you do is something that we should all aspire to, and it doesn't matter if it's at school, university, work, or home. If you think about it, doing your best is also central to self-reliance, because it allows you not only to test your capabilities, but also helps you to learn and therefore extend them. It's only when you are at the edge of your ability that you can really test your mettle and see just how much you can depend on yourself. Only ever working inside your comfort zone or doing just enough to get by may be easy, but is rarely rewarding. And it never allows you to develop into a fully rounded person or realize your full potential. The following quote from Theodore Roosevelt sums up the essence of Emerson's point. It is not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls, who know neither defeat or victory. When you are working on your next task, give it your full concentration and really put the effort in to produce the best possible end result. Even if it doesn't lead to glittering success, you should be proud of yourself for doing your very best. No man fails who does his best.
there's another kind of instinct that you need to be on the lookout for, and this one is a liar. This one is a saboteur. This one is a backbiter. This is the instinct that says, you've had enough. You've given it your best shot. You can stand down. You can back off. You can rest now.
Which sets up this problem for all of us. You're never going to feel like it. It's your job to make yourself do the crap you don't want to do so you can be everything that you're supposed to be. And you're so damn busy waiting to feel like it. And you're never going to.
And that's the problem. There are those of you, you're still immature. When your excitement is up, your effort is up. But when your excitement goes down, your effort goes down. For some of you, you're too seasonal. When you're excited, man, you coming to work the first week, the first month, the first 3 months when you got that job, you were excited, and so you was putting forth effort. You on blade, not you got comfortable, and you're not excited no more. And guess what happened? Your effort has gone down. So do me a favor, get off of that feeling stuff. Get off your excitement. We're not dealing with feelings because feelings go up and down. You don't have to be excited. You made a commitment to that job. Did nobody force you to take that job? You signed your name on the dotted line. And commitment said, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I'm excited. I don't care if I'm pumped up. I don't care if I'm fired up. You made a commitment. Now it's time to put up.
Lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning. But winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy. So if you're a winner, you ain't comfortable.
Every day I get up and give everything I got to everything I'm a part of simply because this is who I am. Like the only thing I need every day of my life is 86,400 seconds. That's it. Like I don't need some reward. Like the only thing I need is breath in my body and I'm flat out going get it.
A person with passion always stands out. The world is so full of average that once you have passion and a sense of energy in your life, it distinguishes you. When you're passionate about something, it isn't reasonable, but you do it anyway. Passion will take you where nothing else will ever take you. It'll give you that decided edge. It'll help you to stand out.
When you want to become a diamond, your whole attitude change, your whole mindset, your thinking, your relationships, the decisions that you make, how you spend your time, your energy, all of it changes. See, this is something that you can't be in this business. This business has to be in you.
You take advantage of this opportunity. You let everything else go. You eat different. You study different. You practice different. You don't belong at the bottom, and it's time for you to get your butt from down there. It's time for you to stop being comfortable at the bottom. Get your butt up and get to where you're supposed to be. You are a royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live.
Get better every day. Socrates didn't know much. There wasn't much he held for certain. But he was sure, he said, that we cannot remain as we are. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. Nobody is as good as they could be. Nobody is perfect. Everybody can improve. There are few self-fulfilling prophecies more important or more dangerous than this. If you think you have room to grow, you do, and you will. If you think you're as good as you can be, you're right. You won't get any better. It has been said that Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in history, the youngest and the oldest to win a Super Bowl, isn't obsessed with winning. That's not what he focuses on. He's obsessed with improving the accuracy of his touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. He's obsessed with getting a little bit faster at releasing the football. He's not willing to stay the same, even though that same is very consistently the best in the league. The process of getting better, that's his drug. That's the dragon he chases. That's how he is able to defy aging and all expectations. The Japanese word for this is kaizen, continual improvement. Always finding something to work on, to make a little progress on. Never being satisfied, always looking to grow. Revolution, transformation, that's what amateurs chase. The pras are after evolution. If the first step is just showing up, committing to doing something each day, then the next step is finding something to focus on getting better at each day. And in this, where cumulative improvement meets compounding returns, we can harness one of the most powerful forces on earth. Think about it. Most people don't even show up. Of the people who do, most don't really push themselves. So to show up and be disciplined about daily improvement. You are the rarest of the rare, and if improvement sounds difficult, how about just making fewer mistakes? This is what Gehrig's manager said about him. The secret to Gehrig's incredible trajectory as an athlete wasn't just his commitment. It was that he never made the same mistake twice. The guy who began his career blowing at least one play per inning improved to one mistake per game, to one per week, to one per month. To err is human. But to err is each day is to become closer to the divine. We not only hold ourselves to a standard, but we ratchet the standard up as we go. Just as with weight training, what we're lifting should be steadily increasing with each subsequent workout. Our unwillingness to be satisfied with our performance, to be done with our progress, is what keeps us from plateauing. It drives us forward. Is it a little discouraging that we never seem to arrive? That our standards rise just out of reach of our abilities? Absolutely not. We move the goalpost so the game doesn't get boring, and more important, so it never ends. Ultimately, this brings us more pleasure and more satisfaction. We reach heights we'd never have been able to see otherwise. Do you want to be rotting or ripening? Are you getting better? Because if you're not, then you're probably getting worse. Anyone, whether they're a professional athlete or a house cleaner, can get better at their job. You can get better at being a person, a citizen, a son or a daughter. You can get better at how you think, how you focus, what you think about. Just as one person delights in improving his farm and another his horse, Epictetus would say, riffing as it happens on Socrates, so I delight in attending to my improvement day by day. He said this as a man who clawed his way out of slavery. He said this from exile. He said this as one of the wisest men in the ancient world. And still, he was focused on how he could get better every day, in every way. One can imagine that for Epictetus, this discipline would have been extremely helpful in those dark times, because it gave him something to focus on, something only he controlled, not his master, not society, not his station in life. But this discipline is also helpful in the good times too, preventing one from getting too cocky or complacent. It doesn't matter what the scoreboard says, or the bank balance, or the sales figures, or the headlines. You know whether you're getting better or worse, whether you're making progress day to day. And if you are, wonderful. If you know there is room for improvement, also wonderful. Either way, your marching orders are the same. Come what may, success or failure, fame or misfortune. A focus on progress lets us look ourselves in the mirror with pride and ignore all the commotion in the background. It's the journey of a lifetime. In fact, that's the way to think about all of this. How much progress could you make if you made just a little each day over the course of an entire life? What might this journey look like? Where might it lead if each bit of progress you made presented both the opportunity and the obligation to make a little more progress, and you seized those opportunities, you lived up to those obligations each and every time? Will you choose to take this journey? Will you continue on, even when you've reached further than you ever thought you could go? Or will you stop there? Are you going to keep practicing? Or have you decided that this is good enough? That you're good enough? Will you remain as you are? Or become what you're capable of? Because once you stop getting better, there's only one direction to go. Do the best you can. The Emperor says in Marguerite Yourcenar's beautiful novel Memoirs of Hadrian, do it over again. Then still improve, even if ever so slightly, those retouches. It's a beautiful irony. You're never content with your progress, and yet you're always content. Because you're making progress.
What does it mean to live an infinite life? Clearly, our lives are finite. We're born, we die, we come, we go. But life is infinite. The game of life will continue with us or without us. Which means every single one of us has a choice. We don't get to choose the nature of the game. Life is infinite. We don't even get to choose if we want to play in the game or not. Once you're born, you're in it. We get one choice. Do you want to play with a finite mindset, or do you want to play with an infinite mindset? To play with a finite mindset means waking up every day and say, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be better than everybody else, I'm going to accumulate more power, more responsibility, more money, whatever it is, whatever your metric is, I'm going to get more than anybody else. Me. And when you die, you take none of it with you. Or we can choose to live our lives with an infinite mindset, which means I'm going to leave this world, this school, in better shape than I found it. It means I'm going to devote my life to see that those around me rise. And we know that we're living with an infinite mindset because our obsession is seeing that we have an impact on the lives of the people around us. We've all had teachers, and some of you are those teachers, where 20 or 30 years from now, I can go to one of your students and say, you're a remarkable human being, you've accomplished so much in your life. How did you become the person you are today? And they will tell me your name. We all remember the teacher who believed in us. We all remember the teacher who had our backs. We all remember the teacher who saw something in us that nobody else saw. We've forgotten all the others, but we remember those couple. And that's what it means to live with an infinite mindset. It means we divert ourselves to that mindset for everyone in our lives. That other teachers will say that about us. Other principals will say that about us. Other students will say that about us. Our friends will say that about us. I am who I am today because of you, and I will commit to live the same life that you taught me how to live. And you will literally live on beyond your own lifestyle, your own lifetime. That when you're gone, others will carry your work for you. This is what it means to live an infinite life, and it is just a choice.
Nobody changes until they change their energy. When you change your energy, you change your life. It's the way it is. When you stop using your enemy to reaffirm your addiction to hatred, when you stop using your best friend to reaffirm your addiction to suffering, when you stop using your Facebook to reaffirm your addiction to insecurity, when you stop that whole process and you start going inward and you're no longer relying on those outer things that create those emotions, and you start creating those inner emotional states, you start changing your energy. Now, whatever is no longer a vibrational match between you and that past, present reality is going to fall away.
Right.
They're just going to spiral out. You're no longer putting your attention on them. In other words, the stronger the emotion you feel with some problem in your life, the more you give it your attention. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. You're giving your power away, your life force.
Yeah.
Lower the volumes of that emotion, you take your attention off that person, you're calling energy back to you. And you're building your own electromagnetic field. We've seen the evidence of that in many events, because when people start overcoming themselves, the first day, not always, but the energy of the room will drop. Why? Because they're drawing from the field to build their own field. Now when they build their own field the next day and the fields start interfering with the people next to them, whoop, the energy in the room just keeps going up. So now there's no longer a vibrational match between you and your coworker. Be prepared, because that old known thing is going to fall away because you're no longer emotionally and energetically connected to it. So then when you get in that state, it's not a time to try to put it back together, because at the same time these things are unraveling and they're moving towards chaos, and chaos is just unpredictable order.
Right.
It's novelty, the newness of an experience that you can't predict is chaos. If you apply the formula, and all potentials in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic potentials. They are possibilities. When they begin to synchronize coherently, your brain and heart, you got a strong Wi-Fi signal, because now you're putting out a very laser coherent signal.
Right.
When there's a synchronization between your energy and that potential that exists in the future, but it really exists in the present moment, because that's where they exist in the quantum. Now you start to see synchronicities in your life, and those are breadcrumbs from the field, like keep going, you're onto something.
What do you want in life? What's my purpose in life? Why am I here? What do I love? What am I passionate about? How many people can genuinely answer, this is my purpose in life? Very, very few people. Once you're clear with your purpose, you know what to concentrate on, and you know what to direct your finite amount of energy towards.
If you're conditioned, it's because you have allowed yourself to become that. And if we are conditioned, if we've conditioned ourselves to believe certain kinds of things, and one of the things that we kind of believe and hang on to and live with is this whole idea that all of the things that happened to me in my past are what are keeping me from doing what I'd like to do today. So we hang on to these things and we fill ourselves with blame.
You have some options. Here you are exploring the variety of your environment and coming into alignment with who you really are, and then allowing all of that to flow through you too. So in every moment in time, you have the option of focusing in a way that increases and enhances your alignment and your joy, which causes you to resonate with everything you put into your vortex, or something else. There really are not so many other choices, are there? You can focus on a problem. You cannot have enough money and feel bad because you are attached to the money, or you can not have enough money and feel good as you're anticipating more coming. But the consequence or the circumstance of the money does not need to dictate to you how you feel. That is the problem with getting attached to something that you can't control, is that it leaves you like a puppet with no strings. It's about not putting your attachment in all the wrong places, not putting it in what is temporary, but putting it in what is steady. And then in that steady attachment or alignment, then you can just flow it to whatever is currently in your now, flowing through your experience.
You can't give away what you don't have. People who are not good at giving away love can't give away love because they don't have it to give away. If I want to give you a dozen oranges, I can't give you those dozen oranges unless I go out and pick up 12 oranges someplace. Otherwise, all it is just empty rhetoric. And the same thing is true of virtually everything in your life. You can't give away love for others if you don't have love in here to give away. If what you have in here is contempt, if what you have in here is anger, if what you have in here is fear, then these are the things you're going to be giving away in your life.
Every one of you are drawing a picture with your life. You're the artist. Your hands and your feet are the paintbrushes. And the choices and decisions you're making right now are the paint strokes. You can paint whatever picture you want to paint. You can become whatever you want to become. But your choices and decisions that you're making right now matter.
You got to have the grit and the tenacity to push forward and give it a little bit more than what you have right now.
Don't wait for the perfect timing. The perfect timing is never going to come because there's no such thing as perfect. There's never going to be a day where you wake up and you're like, this is the perfect day for me to finally change. All the things have lined up. My inbox is completely clear. I have nothing to do today. There's no distractions. The kids are finally perfectly on their own. Oh my gosh, my husband or wife is finally perfect on their own. Everybody is healthy around me. Everything is just perfect. The day is sunny and bright. And oh my gosh, look at all this gold that just happened to appear in front of me. It's not going to happen like that. You need to say, okay, there is never going to be a perfect time, so you need to set a D-Day. Literally, a day in which you say, that's the day. And then you need to marshal all of your motivation, all of your ability to learn and develop skills as fast as you can before that day. But when that day comes, that's D-Day. That's the day that you go. That's the day that you quit. And that has to be a real date for you. And you mark it on the calendar. That's the day you quit the thing. That's the day you walk out. That's the day that you leave that situation that is not healthy or satisfying or good for you or your soul or the people around you. That you have to have that date. It has to be scheduled or you'll never do it. You'll just keep saying, oh, you know, one day things are gonna be, you know, the people who say one day, they end up at the end with a collection of days that were so far from perfect that they're in a state of misery now. They never landed in the land of their dreams because they were always marching in something that was miserable to them, right? At some point, the only way that life changes is that you change your course. And don't wait for a perfect day. So what's your date?
People who earn large incomes aren't lucky, and they're not crooks as those without money are so fond of pretending, nor are they endowed with more brains or talent necessarily than their friends and neighbors, nor are they privy to occult secrets, and only a very few were lucky enough to have had rich fathers or grandfathers. Most of the people earning the big incomes today started the same way you and I did, and most other people. The only difference between the men who earn big incomes and those who earn small incomes is that those earning big incomes decided to earn more. They're the people who made it their business to earn more. You see, people do what they make up their minds to do. So get rid of the ancient superstition once and for all that people who earn big money are special people, are lucky, or get the breaks, or had money to begin with, or knew someone, or are smarter, or anything else. These are alibis. They can all be disproved 1,000 times. The reason there are so many of these alibis around is that men who fail to make the grade financially are seldom honest enough to just admit that they really didn't try and keep trying. So in order to justify their failure, in order to remain seated, they dream up and pass along these old alibis. We're all self-made, but only the successful will admit it.
The commitments we make to ourselves and to others, and our integrity to those commitments, is the essence and clearest manifestation of our proactivity. It is also the essence of our growth. Through our human endowments of self-awareness and conscience, we become conscious of areas of weakness, areas for improvement, areas of talent that could be developed, areas that need to be changed or eliminated from our lives. Then, as we recognize and use our imagination and independent will to act on that awareness, making promises, setting goals, and being true to them, we build the strength of character, the being that makes possible every other positive thing in our lives. It is here that we find two ways to put ourselves in control of our lives immediately. We can make a promise and keep it, or we can set a goal and work to achieve it. As we make and keep commitments, even small commitments, we begin to establish an inner integrity that gives us the awareness of self-control and the courage and strength to accept more of the responsibility for our own lives. By making and keeping promises to ourselves and others, little by little, our honor becomes greater than our mood. The power to make and keep commitments to ourselves is the essence of developing the basic habits of effectiveness. Knowledge, skill, and desire are all within our control. We can work on any one to improve the balance of the three. As the area of intersection becomes larger, we more deeply internalize the principles upon which the habits are based and create the strength of character to move us in a balanced way toward increasing effectiveness in our lives.
Get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, and personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens. And the third one is get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk I gave, I stood up, my mind sat back down. But here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. Stood up and I did it again. And I did it again, and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it, and I didn't a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I'm asked to walk on this stage with the greatest introduction I've ever had, greatest response and welcome I've ever had, the greatest opportunity I've ever had to touch this many lives with a mixture of words and heart and soul. I got better. I got better day by day and week by week and month by month, and I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn, the money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger.
Tell me one thing in your life that is great that came as a result of being comfortable.
Most of us aren't defeated in one decisive battle. We are defeated one tiny, seemingly insignificant surrender at a time that chips away at who we should really be. It isn't that you wake up one day, decide, that's it, I'm going to be weak. No. It is a slow, incremental process. It chips away at our will. It chips away at our discipline.
Move out of your comfort zone. It's the courage to move into your zone of discomfort where you feel awkward and clumsy and sometimes alone. The comfort zone is one of the greatest enemies of human potential and of your potential.
The people that are really successful, they're not looking for comfort. They're looking for excitement. They're looking for potential. Give up this old idea, I just want to be comfortable. Quit lying to yourself. You know you seek more than comfort.
So understand that when you're trying to avoid the pain, when you're trying to avoid the struggle, when you're trying to avoid the hard things in life, you are actively choosing to be average.
Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it.
Once you figure out that you're in a race amongst billions of people that live in this world, you're in a race by yourself. You have a purpose, and it's your purpose, not everybody else's purpose. It is your purpose and only your purpose, and it's your race.
That means you are persistently bigger than your excuses. You are persistently bigger than feeling lazy. And you are persistently beating the feelings that typically stop you.
Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full.
When the sun comes up, you've got all the books, you've got all the tapes, you've got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt.
What I've come to appreciate when you're working on changing your life, changing some bad habit, getting out of addictive situations or relationships, or working to build a dream or making a difference in our society, it's hard.
There are going to be all kinds of challenges that we all must face. You cannot live in this world without a challenge. You cannot live in this world without a struggle.
Greatness is right on the other side of pain. So what are you running from it for? You say you want to be successful, then push through it. Stop making excuses and go get it.
The lack of self-discipline is the major cause of failure, frustration, underachievement, and unhappiness in life. It causes us to make excuses and sell ourselves short. Perhaps the two biggest enemies of success, happiness, and personal fulfillment are first the path of least resistance and second, the expediency factor. The path of least resistance is what causes people to take the easy way in almost every situation. They seek shortcuts to everything. They arrive at work at the last minute and leave at the first opportunity. They look for rich, quick schemes and easy money. Over time, they develop the habit of always seeking an easier, faster way to get the things they want, rather than doing what is hard but necessary to achieve real success. The expediency factor, which is an extension of the law of least resistance, is even worse when leading people to failure and underachievement. This principle says people invariably seek the fastest and easiest way to get the things they want, right now, with little or no concern for the long-term consequences of their behavior. In other words, most people do what is expedient, what is fun and easy, rather than what is necessary for success. Every day, and every minute of every day, there is a battle going on inside of you between doing what is right, hard, and necessary, like the angel on one shoulder, or doing what is fun, easy, and of little or no value, like the devil on your other shoulder. Every minute of every day, you must fight and win this battle with the expediency factor and resist the pull of the path of least resistance if you truly desire to become everything you are capable of becoming.
And then when you see people take on more responsibility and decide that they're going to aim up and confront their suffering honestly and forthrightly, that their lives get better and the lives of people around them get better too. And so that's very strange as well, because it also means that the pathway to less suffering is through suffering, right? And that's kind of
That would be hopeful if the world was constituted that way. It's like, well, there's suffering. How do you make it worse? Run away. How do you make it better? Confront it. Yeah, but it's suffering. It's like, yeah, but it's there. There it is. It's right there. It's a precondition for existence or something like that. And it's like you have something important to do as well. And you confront it, and that's the pathway to transcending it.
We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, you know, the best way to live your life? What is the, you know, there's got to be ways where you can be putting forward the most positive energy. I mean, we know objectively what's causing pollution. We know objectively what's causing birth defects, and, you know, and we're taking in too much chemicals and not enough vitamins. We know objectively all this stuff. We know how to organize our world, and yet we don't do it. We know how to organize our health, and yet very few people do it. We know all these things. The right path to, like, being like a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body, take care of your health, take care of your mind, your stress, meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. I mean, you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. I mean, it's not like a magical checklist. If you talk to people about it, you said, okay, here you got a person, you want to improve them, what are the things that you're going to do to them? Okay, well, if I was a life coach, the first thing I would say is this guy's got to get on a diet that makes him healthy. I don't mean a diet just to lose weight. I mean just healthy foods in your body. Many, many vegetables. Start working out your body and get a better sense of, like, how this machine feels when it's moving, it's flowing better, there's less tension in it, your mind feels like relaxed, and you enjoy every single moment of the day better. Step one, everybody knows that step, right? What's step two? Be cool to people. Be nice to as many people as you can. Smile at as many people as you can. Have them smile back at you. Tip well when you go to restaurants. Just do the most you can. Be as nice as you can, and just still manage to not have people walk all over you. Just get through this life as nice as you can.
The average human is capable of unbelievable improvement. That's the thing that's my superpower. I don't think I'm special. I just realized in looking at the science that humans actually are capable of this incredible amount of change. It is the strategy that our species took to be able to pass knowledge on through culture rather than having to have everything be instincts. And in having that layer where we can drink in the culture and read books and learn from other people, and, you know, even now we're all learning from things that people thought thousands of years ago and wrote down. Like, it's insane. It travels through to you, and all of that wisdom stored in culture, so that as your parents are teaching you things, they're actually encapsulating a ton of the wisdom that is endured, whether it's endured from religion or books or whatever. Like, you're bathed in a culture that is giving you all of this incredible information. And so recognizing how powerful and potent that is incredibly meaningful. But you have to understand that you have to allow yourself to believe that you can learn from that culture in the same way that everybody else can. And that's what you're designed to do. Now, for me, that completely gave me the confidence, and I put confidence in air quotes because it's not like I believe something specific about myself. I just believed that the human animal is capable of this extraordinary change. And so now I just needed to point myself in that direction. Now, this is the key. Once I realized that I could get better at anything, it dawned on me that how I spend my time is a spiritual consideration. And I didn't want to die with potential that I failed to turn into skill set. That, to me, that speaks to me. How much of my potential can I actually turn into skill set and get good at this stuff and push and grow and improve? Like, that to me is just this incredibly intoxicating thing. So, for me, the discipline, the confidence, all of that comes from recognizing the human animal. Nothing special about me. The human animal is capable of extraordinary change. I'm going to have to put time and energy into doing it, but I'm capable of getting this change. Therefore, I can do anything I set my mind to. Therefore, it really matters what I choose to spend my time on. Therefore, I want to put structure and discipline in my life so that I can move forward on things that excite me, that matter to me, because I really can have this big, crazy dream that I'm thinking of. So my discipline is really born of my desire to have that thing, coupled with my belief that I can actually get there. Desire and belief. Get those two things right, and the discipline will take care of itself.